Good morning, South Africa. I hope you had a well-deserved rest. I went and fell asleep last night with a charm in my heart because things are happening within the funeral industry. Strangely, after more than 20 years, after our new democracy has touched South Africa's hearts and that of the world, we need to refer back to our constitution, the South African constitution, that defines who is responsible for what. And we need to clarify that FIRA has been pleading for many years for a single government department to take control of the funeral industry. And in terms of the South African constitution, that is COGTA, Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, not health, not home affairs, not the FICE, not Treasury, not SARS, not home affairs, not environment, not sanitation, not labor, but COGTA. And since this corona hype and epidemic, in inverted commas, has hit the world, Africa and South Africa, is someone within government, after us pleading years, that COGTA, in terms of Section 2295B, is not only responsible for cemeteries and crematorium, but for the total funeral industry. And I say thank you to Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, including Obed Bapela, which I personally engaged on a number of occasions, and we've engaged these people on WhatsApp with the political leaders and political parties across the broad spectrum of South Africa, highlighting that on the media, highlighting that on social media. We're very happy to say that we are receiving regulations nowadays, which is referring to COGTA, which, thanks God, someone has received a wake-up call. So COGTA will now in future be referred to as the department in control of the funeral industry, as the department that will engage through MOUs with all the other departments, so that they can really do what they are established for, is to cooperate between all the government departments, because the government departments overseeing the funeral industry has been creating little kingdoms for themselves, trying to enforce their laws onto industry. We can't listen to 12 government departments, people. Please, come on. As President Zuma said, come on. And we are saying that again, come on. Please, guys, let's put jokes aside. COGTA has taken control. We're very happy about it. We now need them to get all the laws included into a single law, which they've already started now. Everyone has noticed that. Then create a single licensing body and a single implementation agency. But let's look at the law included that. Although it has been done, there's still 170 grey areas within the laws that's existing over and above the COGTA new set of rules and regulations, which still needs to be done. We still need to incorporate a lot of things, standard operating procedures, all these kind of things still needs to happen. But we need to recognize for the light that listen to what FIRA has said. Not any other association in South Africa has ever seen that. The only thing that they've spoken to is to health and to home affairs and to Financial Services Board, which in any event is not in control of the funeral industry, as a matter of fact. That's why we can challenge them, legally if need to. But be that as it may, over and above that, whilst government is putting these measures in place and putting regulations in place of the amount of people that's allowed to attend a funeral, we still have officials, in particularly police officials and junior officials, creating their own laws, whilst the Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma has issued an instruction and regulation for 50 people to attend a funeral. Now we get a police official telling one of our members, you can only be 20 people attending a funeral, or 11, and then 13, and then 15. They don't even understand their own rules and regulations. Then we've got an official in Durban at the Hindu crematorium, and I just want to read the name. I can't remember the name that was sent through to me by a member of the public complaining, Clare Estate Umgeni Hindu Crematorium Society. This charge of that tells the people only 20 people could attend a service. Now, please, people, anyone who understands the Hindu and Muslim communities and their cultures and traditions will know that they won't only allow 10 or 12 or 20 funerals. 50 people is a little bit of people that normally attends a funeral. And we acknowledge the fact that there's a challenge. We acknowledge the fact that there's rules, there's regulations, and we support that. But we want to ask the officials to please get their facts together. Don't create your own little rules whilst your minister has said there's 50 people, unless it's been changed within regulation. So please, let's not do that. Please not try and enforce our own little laws because the official thinks that he knows the laws. Let's follow the leadership that has created the laws, which we recommend. And we thank them for the past 20 years and more. We've requested government to change the laws, which was inherent. And we need to acknowledge that. We need to acknowledge that certain laws still prevents smaller funeral parlors from operating their business. We still need to understand that the National Consumer Commission and the National Protection Act is not benefiting the funeral industry. The FSCA is not benefiting smaller funeral parlors. Home Affairs is not accommodating them. Health is not accommodating them. Spatial planning is not accommodating the funeral industry. So please, guys, let's work together. Let's report these officials, which is trying to leverage themselves in trying to pressure the funeral industry to follow their rules. We've seen it in the Free State. We've seen it in Windberg. We've seen it in Cape Town. We've seen it in KZN. We've seen it all over the country where an official closes a funeral parlor without having the mandatory act to do these kind of things. They need to follow the rules and the regulations set by the minister who controls the funeral industry, not the police, not inspectorates of a health authority. COGTA is in charge, and that's what we've asked for. And it's happening, people. COGTA will oversee all the COGTA to also regulate the funeral parlors, which is acting inappropriately and not following the rules and regulations. So we urge everyone to support Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, Obed Bapela, the Executive Director General, which we've engaged. And we've shown them that they are responsible. But be that as it may, we are creating this WhatsApp group exclusively for industry players which is really interested in promoting their business, sustaining their business, educating themselves, because FIRA will have a lockdown of itself by not sharing if people are not prepared to pay for it or prepared to become a full member of FIRA. Because we now, as an industry, need to take control of our own affairs, guided by COGTA and others. And we pledge our full support to the Minister of COGTA, the Deputy, the DG, officials, provinces and municipalities, irrespective of which political party is in control of a province or a municipality. FIRA will support you because the national minister has realized that FIRA has been correct, advising them correctly since the dawn of apartheid and the birth of the new democratic dispensation in 1994. COGTA, in terms of Section 2295B of the South African Constitution, is in charge of the funeral industry. Remember that. And any other department that tries to harass you, refer them to COGTA as the department in control of the funeral industry. Don't allow yourself to be harassed by anyone else. If they harass you, you know that you could contact FIRA and we will advise them correctly. So thank you very much and enjoy your day. God bless.